In this video, we'll be taking a look at one NFL game happening on December 14th, 2025, and providing you with a free team pick and total pick for this game, so 2 picks in total. Welcome back to Cash Out Sports. Let's dive right into it. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe and to click the bell icon to get notified as soon as these videos get released, so that you have more time to plan out your bets as we provide these videos on a daily basis. I can guarantee that you'll have all the important information that you'll need on this one NFL game after fully watching this video. One more thing before we start: if you would like to gain access to our best exclusive sports picks to take your journey to the next level, then check out our Patreon in the link down below, where we offer our best single picks, parlay picks, and much more. Now let's get started. Minnesota Vikings versus Dallas Cowboys. The J.J. McCarthy roller coaster keeps rattling along, and Week 14 was one of the smoother stretches. Before that game, plenty of people in NFL media and a fair share of Vikings fans were already losing patience with Kevin O'Connell, the coach who pushed Sam Darnold aside and hitched his season to the rookie from Michigan. The trust issue is real. McCarthy has flashed enough in his early starts, like that sharp fourth-quarter comeback against the Bears in Week 1, to suggest there might be something worth building on, but most of his outings have looked more like a young quarterback whose confidence has run ahead of his true level. Last week, though, the good version of McCarthy showed up again, even if he did benefit from a lot of help around him. Minnesota sprinted to a 14-0 lead on its first 2 drives, and that second drive was a long, 12-minute, 98-yard clinic that showed off O'Connell's knack for building a quarterback-friendly script. After that, the engine coughed a bit. The Vikings managed only 42 yards across the next 2 quarters, then padded things late thanks to a couple of short fields when the game was already leaning their way. McCarthy's stat line in Week 14, 16 of 23 for 163 yards, 3 touchdowns, and no interceptions, was encouraging, but it does not magically fix the underlying volatility. The idea of him playing at that level every week still feels more like hope than expectation. The nice thing for Minnesota is that their defense is not nearly as wobbly. They sit 9th in total defensive expected points added, and most weeks they are the unit that actually keeps the team in games. They are going to have to do that again here, and probably at something close to their ceiling. Now flip it around and look at Dallas. The Cowboys' offense stumbled this past Thursday against the Lions, but we are not eager to write off a top-tier unit after one off night. That matchup felt more like Detroit playing like a desperate home team that finally caught momentum and refused to let it go. Even in that loss, Dallas still piled up 417 total yards and 25 first downs, and they outpaced Detroit in both categories. The underlying profile is still strong, with a passing attack that ranks 7th in expected points added per pass and an offense that is first in yards per game. That is not an accident, and it usually travels. They will, however, be dealing with a defense that can punch back. Minnesota brings a front that lives in backfields, and the Cowboys' ability along their own front is a big part of the story. Dallas ranks 4th in sacks allowed and 12th in yards per carry, which usually takes a lot of stress off the quarterback. That sets up a very real trench battle with a Vikings pass rush that ranks 4th in sack rate and loves to crank up the pressure. It is the kind of matchup where 1 or 2 blown protections can swing both the scoreboard and the betting ticket. On the defensive side for Dallas, the picture is messy but not hopeless. There were signs of life in weeks 12 and 13, where they looked more cohesive and less chaotic. Then they walked into Detroit and slipped again, which happens even to strong defenses when they visit Ford Field and the noise gets rolling. Overall, it still feels like a unit that is slowly improving, but the season-long sample tells another story. McCarthy gets to face a defense that has mostly been abysmal against the pass, sitting 30th in expected points added per dropback. That is a tempting setup for another good version performance. Injuries tug this matchup in both directions, which is pretty standard for this stage of the year. Dallas might get CeeDee Lamb back, which obviously helps their offensive ceiling. On the other hand, tackle Tyler Guyton is set to miss his 3rd straight game with a high ankle sprain, and that matters against a blitz-heavy Flores defense. Trevon Diggs was limited in Thursday's practice, and tight end Jake Ferguson did not practice at all, so the Cowboys are juggling some key pieces both in protection and in their route tree. Putting all of that together, Dallas has the more reliable offense on paper, but this is not a comfortable spot to lay a thick number. The Vikings lean hard on their defense. They are used to playing in tight, ugly games, and that profile usually travels fairly well. McCarthy does not need to be heroic here. He simply needs to be functional against a Cowboys defense that has plenty of leaks. weeks. Minnesota should be able to pressure Dak Prescott and stress a banged-up offensive line enough times to keep this inside the number. Dallas is the team that feels the playoff stress, while Minnesota gets to swing freely as the underdog spoiler, and that mental edge can matter more than people like to admit. Our power ratings also do not show these rosters as wildly far apart, which nudges the value toward the points, not away from them. As our first pick for this matchup, the Minnesota Vikings to cover the spread as underdogs is our full game side pick. This total sits a bit above league average, but it is not as inflated as many would have expected back in the preseason when people were daydreaming about fireworks. The psychology here is fascinating. The market still seems to trust Kevin O'Connell's offensive mind almost on instinct, even though the broader sample of this season suggests that trust might be misplaced. Yes, there was that one outlier start from Max Brosmer, which muddies the water a little. Even so, Minnesota ranks 30th in expected points added per pass, and that is a metric McCarthy has dragged down more than any other quarterback in the room, aside from that Brosmer cameo. They average only 19.6 points per game. The run game has its moments where it looks genuinely strong, but the Vikings sit at 27th in rush rate at 40%, so they do not lean on it as much as you would expect for a team trying to protect a rookie and a defense. Dallas is far below average defensively, but they are not exactly facing a juggernaut offense here. The Vikings' defense, meanwhile, might be the steadiest thing about this entire matchup. We have picked apart Brian Flores plenty of times because he can call some truly puzzling sequences. Still, his overall approach works more often than not. Top-tier coordinators and elite quarterbacks can sometimes solve his pressure packages, but most opponents struggle with the volume of looks he throws at them. Flores blitzes more than any coach in the league at 48%. That kind of aggression forces tight throws and compressed windows, which usually shaves a few explosive plays off the total. Dallas has done a very good job protecting Dak Prescott this year, but there is nothing relaxing about facing that level of heat for 4 quarters. Recent scoring patterns point in different directions, which is probably why this total feels like a headache for bettors. None of Minnesota's last 5 games has cleared 46 points on the board. With the offense sputtering for long stretches, the defense has been doing its best to drag games into lower scoring scripts, and the under has cashed in all 5 of those. On the other side, 8 of the last 10 Cowboys games have gone over, which fits the simple story. Their offense hums for most of the season, and their defense gives up enough that total bettors have enjoyed the fireworks. That clash of trends is exactly what makes this number look tricky. We can reasonably expect the Vikings to move the chains against a weak Cowboys defense, but it is hard to project them reaching 31 points again in back-to-back weeks given how their offense has looked across the full season. The listed total is still a big number in a game where both teams have playoff hopes hanging in the balance and both defenses are capable of forcing critical stops when they absolutely have to. It is easy to see why the market leans toward a potential shootout, since Dallas brings real offensive firepower, but a defensive-style game is at least as plausible when you consider the way Minnesota plays and how Flores likes to turn games into puzzles. Our projection lands closer to 44 points, which nudges this matchup under the posted total. As our second pick for this matchup, under the projected total is our full game total pick. That's all for now, so if you have any other games you would like reviewed, then leave a comment down below with the game you would like analyzed, subscribe to our channel, leave a like on this video, and we'll get to it as soon as we possibly can. We would also love to hear your opinion on the picks presented to you in this video, whether you agree or disagree with them, so leave a comment down below and do let us know.